and gentlemen, please make some noise for...
I told him when I come back, we're going swimming. So, tell everybody thank you, Kirill. Скажи, дякую.
Дякую.
Не, английский.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, что? Very much. Еще раз.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Future president of Ukraine right here. All right. Greetings, everybody, and welcome. I want to roll Nicholas Lamar Suter directly in. We want to welcome you to a joint stream today on my channel, Greg Terry Experience, and with Nicholas Lamar Suter, End Time Independent News, joining us. We're partnering on this, co-streaming, and we're just going to talk to a soldier on the front for about 45 minutes to an hour and give you a frontline, understanding look, and we're going to show some love today. So thank you. Nick, welcome, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. And to those of you on In Time who are watching, this is a co-stream. I've been getting to know Terry, and it's a shame to admit I kind of like the guy. But he's definitely the consummate professional. We've been planning this for a little while. Those of you who have seen, this is going to be with Viper. We've had him on before. He has been a delight. We may cover some of the same stuff. I guarantee you we're also going to be covering some new things. Greg has a lot of experience in Ukraine and working with soldiers, experience I do not have. We're going to be relying on that. I think we're going to have a lot of new material. As usual, we have decided that we will be donating all of the super chats on In Time to the charity that Viper has chosen. It's for his drones, which we will be getting into, but the direct link to that Ko-Fi is also in the description on In Time. So, go please feel free to go ahead and do that as we proceed. So having said that, Greg, thank you very much for hosting this. Really appreciate it, and it's good to see you.
It's nice to see you, Nick, as well. And I'll also say, yes, we also will be donating to Viper. In fact, I will tell a little secret toward the end of the stream. I've already got a couple of things we're going to help Viper with because we were having a pre-call and I was able to see behind him and see some needs he has and some things that we can help with, that we help soldiers along the front lines. And yes, I will share those things with everybody toward the end of the stream. It is super cool, going to make Viper a much better soldier and help him do his job. So in my description also, there is a link there at the very top of the description to Ko-Fi, and everything that is donated today on that Ko-Fi will go, Ko-Fi, whatever it's called, will go, Ko-Fi, I think that's what it's called. I'm sorry, I'm a redneck from the South, even though I live in Pennsylvania. Regardless, Ko-Fi, the first link in the description, even $5, $10 at this Christmas season. Thank you. Whatever it can be, everything going to Viper, his unit, to help with their needs. And additionally, I can also tell you I will be returning to Ukraine right after Christmas, few days after Christmas. And you may be asking, Greg, why don't you give us the exact date you're traveling to Ukraine? Oh, yeah, that would be very, very, very bright for me to tell you the exact date, the flight, and the border I'm crossing. So not going to do that. But I promise you, right after Christmas, I'll be there. And yes, I will be there in January and February, and we'll do our best to help at the coldest and the hardest times of the year. So thank you, guys. All of that. We're going to have a great, great conversation. And here we go, everybody. Let's welcome in Viper. Yeah, Nick, go ahead.
Let me interrupt for one quick second, which is that just as a reminder as well, Blonde Bombsheller is the one who is organizing this. So
Yes.
you will see in the Ko-Fi it says Blonde Bombsheller. That is going to Viper. Viper is aware that he's approved it. It's so that's why her name is on the Ko-Fi. We just want to make that clear because we had a
Yes.
question.
Thank you. And even Viper here to get started. You're partnering with Blonde Bombsheller here for this fundraiser, correct, Viper?
Yeah, correct. Obviously, we're on the front line, so we're in and out. And I mean, I know Blonde Bombshell for a very, very long time. It's a very dear friend of mine. So,
Great.
yeah, she runs most of everything, pretty much my life outside Ukraine.
Great. And I'm already seeing some super chats come in on my channel as well. We'll get to those in a few moments. £5 coming in from the Weasel for Viper, and others have done it. We will hit those in a few minutes. Share them. Anything that comes in there as well, I will also send to that Ko-Fi to help Viper. And as I told you guys also, I've got some special treats for him coming up when I get over there and have some coffee with him. But he told me, Nick, that he wanted to take like energy drink and put it in my coffee. I said, man, don't do that.
Only if I can record it. I want to watch.
Well, it's kind of like when I was there on the front with Pete, and he was asking for helium tanks, and this was early on in the war, trying to learn how to fight these drones and shooting balloons out of the air. Helium tanks hard to find. I found the helium tank. We're doing a live stream there from Pete's place, or we made a video or a live stream, can't remember. And he's sucking on the helium bottle, talking in a funny voice. And then he says, "Don't worry, I'm a trained medic." I said, okay, yeah, no problem. But if you pass out, what am I going to do? So fortunately, I have been through medic training there on the front line with multiple units and feel very comfortable to do what I need to do to save lives as well. So anyway, thank you. So let's get to it.
I'll pass that on to Titan in case on In Time we decide we want to start playing with helium. We'll invite you by, and you can just keep an eye on everybody. So Titan, we're good to go. Party after the show, guys.
Oh my goodness, I'll be checking out for that. But anyway, next hour we're focused on Viper, and we're focused really, guys, on allowing Viper to educate us all about the front. Today, over the next hour, I will not be talking about the news. There are things in the news I would like to talk about. Be looking for those on a video either later tonight or in the morning. I want to talk about Hungary and Orban. I want to talk about Karakova, the front lines. I've got new information on Karakova. I want to talk about Chasiv Yar. Chasiv Yar, the warfare that Russia is waging right there now is very similar to how they did Avdiivka, getting video footage out from my friends and others there confirming it that are there. How Russia's really using those above ground pipes like they did in Avdiivka, but the Ukrainians are on top of it and stopping them. So lots of things going on, but that's not the purpose of today's stream. Purpose of today's stream is Viper. Welcome, our dear friend Nick. I'll throw it to you to get us going.
Viper, it's good to see you again. We've actually done a couple of interviews, and I am unfortunately rather predictable, which means my questions are going to be, as always, tell us, where were you born?
Okay, so I'm a South African citizen. I was born in South Africa in Pretoria, which is the mother city. Well, not the mother city, but it's one of the oldest capitals in South Africa. I was born into my dad's a pastor. My mom is also an ordained pastor. And I've got two brothers. And most of my life I spent actually growing up in the Northern Cape. In Uppington, went to school in Uppington, a very, very beautiful part of South Africa, very remote. And yeah, grew up mostly on a farm. So spent a lot of time in the farm. Love hunting. I know everybody's happy about that, but we love hunting. Learned how to drive in a very early age. From there, went to study. I did a stint of service with the South African Defence Force. Yeah, and then started my career. Ended up leaving South Africa about 7 years now to Georgia. So I spent 5 years in Georgia. I actually still have a registered business there. I still do business there. been fortunate enough to have built the business to such an extent that, yeah, I've got two people that's actually looking after that business for me. So although I'm fighting in Ukraine, yeah, do every 6 months a board call and still try to be involved as much as possible, but very difficult, obviously. But yeah, so that's a brief overview. Got 2 degrees. I've got an MBA, Masters in Business Association, and then obviously did a supply chain engineering degree. And then also got a bit of experience in private military. So I was trained CQB through a private organization and was trained in yeah, some tactics that we use. So yes, in Ukraine, yeah, it was very easy fit. It was difficult in the beginning because trench warfare is not something that anybody trained. So it's something to get used to. But trench warfare is very close to a CQB. So yeah, there's a very big overlap between the two disciplines. So it was very easy for me to pick up because I had CQB training.
Let me bounce a question off of that, Nick, before you continue. And this is a question I ask any non-Ukrainians that I find on the front. So, Viper, you know, I run the entire front there with my partner Zhenya in our organization, all the way from what I consider the front lines additionally in Chernihiv and Sumy with the DRG, and of course, all the disruptions up there. And then you come to where people look at the maps and you see the red lines, whether it's the Vovchansk above Kharkiv, or you come down to Kupiansk, and then all the way down around the river to Kherson, all of it. And anytime I see a non-Ukrainian citizen, I always ask them this question, and it's interesting to hear the various answers. So I will ask you, Viper, why, as a South African, with all of your background you just discussed, are you in Ukraine risking your life every day fighting for Ukraine? Why?
Okay, so that's a complex question because it's a complex answer. It's not one specific thing, but it's a variable of things. So first of all, obviously I have military training. My dad was, before he was a pastor, he was a major in the South African Army. So I grew up with shooting discipline, gun, yeah, hunting. So that was the one thing. But the other thing that also started working with me is I saw a news clip. I can't remember if it was CNN or one of the American news agencies that did the clip of, I will never forget, the small little girl. She was probably about 8, 9 years old in Mariupol. And yeah, I will never forget, she started screaming for her dad. And I've got a daughter, which was at that stage a bit older, but more or less the same age. And I thought to myself, you know what? You need to be that answer, because nobody else is going to do it. It's always easy to pass it on to somebody else and say, oh yeah, but they need to sort out their own problems. And I've been fortunate enough. God blessed me a lot in business. So I was at a point where it made logical sense to give back. That's the one part of it. That's the reason why I came initially to Ukraine. Then the other thing is, my dad is like my best friend. I mean, he's my spiritual leader. He's my father. He's my, he teach me from a very little age a lot of stuff. And he's really, really, really man of God. So what was nice about that is, my dad always said, even if you can save one person's life, you will never know what the ripple effect of that is. And that was something that was also stuck by me. If it's one Ukrainian that doesn't need to go to the front line, that doesn't have military experience, that is a civilian, that can't fight, didn't learn the vast knowledge that I have on weaponry. If I can save one guy, I mean, I would never know what the ripple effect is going to be in 10 years' time from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now. So, yeah. And third part of it is I actually dated a Ukrainian girl in Georgia. And it was seeing them reminded me of the South Africans a lot, a lot, a lot. The ingenuity that they've got, the inventiveness that they've got, the fight that they've got. And I thought, I've been to Ukraine, I've seen Ukraine prior to the war in 2017. And yeah, it was a beautiful country for me. It's a farming country. I mean, it's in my blood. Farming is in my blood. So yeah, that's combined all together was the reason why I decided then to come and help.
So
Just
I know
help.
people are wondering, and the Nick, I'll throw it to you. Let me throw this comment up there first. Bobo Uzala, we give away Frontline flags try to do it about once a week, every 10 days. Bobo, I'm flying my flag, Greg. You know what? This is what we say, Bobo.
Slava Ukraini.
There we go. Thank you for that, Bobo. And my mods are watching everything. As far as questions in the chat, let me get back to this one. Questions in the chat, all of those different things. I will answer some, but guys, if you were asking me questions specifically about Ukraine, I saw one of the questions in there by new member, Mida, why is Ukraine divided over Zelensky? We definitely can talk about that, and I can explain it to you. And we get into deep conversations there about Russian propaganda, but also about divisions throughout the Ukraine, understanding how going forward, the weariness of almost 3 years of war, all of that. We'll get into all of that. All these questions are there. But I know you guys probably are wondering, okay, Greg, we heard Viper's answer. You told us that when you go around the front lines, you always ask non-Ukrainian citizens that are fighting for Ukraine while they're there, what do they say? Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, 90%, and I want to say 95 to 99, but I will say 90 to be even more 100% accurate. 90% say they are there fighting for the children. And daggone it, that's exactly what Viper said. 90% of non-Ukrainian citizens fighting for Ukraine that I ask why they're there. These guys are from Colombia, from different South American countries, from a lot from South Africa, from European nations. I've met Americans there fighting on their own private, not American troops there, on their own private deal to come and serve. 90%, 9 out of 10. I'm here fighting for the children. I saw them early in the war. It broke my heart. I'm coming to help. So we hear that confirmed. Nick, back on you, brother.
Well, I'm gonna ask a question that is going to betray my ignorance. But you had mentioned before. First of all, I think it's incredible that you had a lot of success in business. That's what you studied. It doesn't sound like you were interested in being in the military, and yet here you are. But you had mentioned earlier that you did hunting, and you and I had spoken once about safari, and I wanted to know a little bit more about what a safari is, and did that kind of hunting help you prepare for what you're going through now?
Okay, yeah. Um, I'm going to contradict a lot of people that says you can't make a sniper out of a hunter. But it depends on where you hunt, I always say. So, yes, it helped me a lot. I mean, if you hunted as much as we did, you get to a point where it starts getting boring. So then you start to do long range hunting, and there's principles. I mean, ballistics. Ballistics is something you can use on a hunting trip. You can use it on a military field. You can use it wherever. Shooting is, I always say, you can be trained to be a good shooter. No matter what principles you've got, there's certain things that you need to know. And obviously, I am faster than the Americans in my team. I am faster than the Canadians in my team because I learned to target acquire something that is moving very, very quickly. And I mean, it's not something you can take away from somebody. It's in your eye. It's in your feeling. It's just easier for me when I see guys coming from other military units and they've served. I always tell them, please forget everything you've learned, because it's Ukraine. You need to adapt. Yes, we never engage enemy at 1.2 kilometers. But it's that skill of quick target acquiring and being able to move shooting targets that's very important.
It's one of the things that's hard for people to understand, Viper, and you can speak to it. No, you made the statement. It's one thing, to be out in the South African plains and learning to fight, learning to hunt, et cetera, safari, whatever. Here, where I grew up in Virginia, in the deep forest, but the terrain of Ukraine is indescribable as far as how it changes so quickly. So you can move from extreme, dense, deep forest to swamps. And in just 100 kilometers, you can be on what looks like a plains of Kansas with just open, wide, grassy fields and a little tree line for windbreaks. The terrain, and then I'm not even talking about elevation. Out in the east, you can have some serious elevation changes with ravines. I remind you guys that the word in Ukrainian yar, for example, Chasiv Yar, Kruty Yar, Krasny Yar, that yar translates ravine. So that's a lot of undulation. So you can prepare for one thing in a place, but when you get in Ukraine, that terrain is quite challenging and can change like that. Nick, you go talk about. Let's do this first. Let me do this. Let me thank you guys again. Dunk on you. Let's do the super chats right now. And as I said, I will be also making a donation to the Ko-Fi. I've learned how to say it now, and the links in the description, everything coming today will be assisting Viper and his unit. And I'm also going to announce 2 gifts we're going to be giving him at the end of the stream, and I'll personally deliver those here to him. But dunk on you, $20 super chat, Slava Ukraini. Ukraine is the most important thing right now. Yes, sir, and thank you, dunk on you. Thank you, Blonde Bombshell, for your work and moderation. Dunk on you, gifting 5 memberships this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Well, not so beautiful here. We're getting snow, rain mix, cold, windy, wet, typical Western PA winter. Johnny Nedregard, my brother, Norwegian Islands out there. Gifting a membership. Thank you for that. BTC Bandit with €22.99 coming in. Thank you for that, BTC Bandit. And we realize he is a crypto fan. The Weasel, £5 for Viper. Thank you for that. Johnny Nedregard, 22 Norwegian krones. Thanks for defending democracy and freedom, Viper. So Viper, there is a thank you coming in from Norway from Johnny to you.
Much love, brother.
Petra Olsen with the Swedish non-smoking initiative with love to Ukraine, Swedish krones 129. She gave up smoking, put the money from her smoking habit to help Ukraine, and she spreads the love everywhere. Thank you, Petra. Ida, Norwegian krones 249 with loves coming in for you, Viper, for Ukraine, standing strong. Ida, thank you so much for your support. We'll get it there. Reb Tyree, one of our conductors. Glory to the defenders, Slava Ukraini, World War II. Epic Battles with $5 super chat saying, today I finished a series about strategy against Russia. I would love your feedback in the comments. Roast me if I said something that's false. He's having a chat in the they're having a conversation in chat about how to deal with Russia. That's a great topic, and it's very, very complex, not only militarily, not only with economics, but also politically. They have to implode. There's multiple layers there to destroying the Kremlin, the Soviet Union, that narrative, and modern day Russia. Blonde Bombshell, our crew member, 9 months. Thank you, Greg, Nick, and Viper, of course, you know. Living the Life, $5 super chat. How deep in Ukraine do you think Russia could potentially go in a 3-month stretch once Chasiv Yar, Toretsk, Kharkov, and Pokrovsk fall? Well, that's assuming that Chasiv Yar, Toretsk, Kharkov, and Pokrovsk will fall. I can tell you right now, out of the list of 4 cities, Kharkov will fall first. It's 80% occupied. Toretsk will fall. Chasiv Yar may or may not in that time frame. We're standing for no, but it's difficult there. And Pokrovsk, may or may not. There's not even a battle for Pokrovsk yet. They are battling in the villages outside of it. There's not a Russian soldier in Pokrovsk, and Pokrovsk is a large city, 65,000 pre-war. Mirnograd, the twin city there on the highway coming in from Pavlograd and Dnipro into the support for Konstantin, Kramatorsk, Druzhkova, and Slavyansk. Those two cities right there, that's going to be a battle, and it's already beginning. But there are no Russian troops inside Pokrovsk or Mirnograd. At the closest, they're about 1.5 kilometers. So how far can they go? They're not going to get Konstantinivka, Kramatorsk, Slavyansk, and Druzhkivka. First of all, you have elevation, and Ukraine has it very well defended. And Pokrovsk, it's not going to be easy, guys. Ukraine, we've been talking to our buddies there. It's not going to be easy. So Haji, can night drones with thermal imaging? Okay, let's ask this question. Haji, $5 super chat. Viper for you. Can night drones with thermal imaging be used effectively in daylight?
Yes, of course they can. Your thermal signature is still there. It's a bit more difficult to spot large objects if it's a hot day out, because the trees and the vegetation actually radiate energy and show you a picture. But it's normally the movement. So we will look for the thermal movement. If we see the thermal movement, then we'll start using the daytime lens to actually see what it is.
Thank you. And Haji also said, return the children in Crimea is Ukraine. Guys, you know, Haji and all others listening, isn't it interesting, Nick, that we can just have a question like that and ask a guy who uses them basically every day? So I would take that as an authoritarian answer. The guy knows. So it's nice. Absolutely. Let me get the last two, Nick, and I'll throw it to you. Ohm's gifting a membership. Thank you for that. And Ohm's crew member dropping his Ukrainian trident, Ukrainian flag, his salute, and his American flag. Thank you for being a member for 8 months. And Haji says thank you for asking and for answering the question that was asked. Nick, to you.
All right, I'm going to have a question, but before we do that, first of all, somehow the real Vladimir Putin is in both our streams simultaneously, which I have no idea how he's done that. But thank you, I'm like, it's literally okay. Thank you for coming by, Nick, and dunk on you.
Nick, you may have a halo around your head, but let me tell you something.
Oh, here we go again. Yes, please.
How is the real Vladimir Putin in both chats? The same way that Vladimir Putin can be in two meetings at the same time.
Oh.
I don't follow that stuff at all, but people love to talk about the duos and all that and the trios. Anyway,
the duplicates. So I'm wondering which of us got the real one.
You've got the
dunk on you, Bennett. Why me? Dunk on you managed to ninja into this stream. So not only did he super chat on yours, he came in time, super chatted $20 for Viper. Thank you, Nick. You rock, sir. Sir, you as well.
Let me do this, and this is from Viper. This is from Nick. This is from Ukraine. This is from all of us, for all of you helping us with Viper today, and even donating on Ko-Fi as well. Link in the description.
Slava Ukraini!
Now, when I'm playing that video clip, sorry, I come back, it automatically triggers. But when I come back from that video, when I'm playing that little 6-second Zelensky and the troops there responding, Slava Ukraini, Geroim Slava, I have another monitor here where I'm watching the three of these guys. And when that's playing, Nick's doing this. Cool. But Viper's doing this. Yeah. That's what Viper's doing. So I'm watching it, and it's really cool. All right, Nick, back to you. Continuing with our chat with Viper.
So Viper, I wanted to know what is your average day like? And I want to kind of break this up into 2 average days. First of all, what is a day where you get orders, where you have a mission and you've been told you've got a mission? How do you find out? What do you do? How do you plan? How do you select how you're going to approach it? What does that go like? How long are you out for? And then the other question is, of course, then on days where you're down, what do you do for those days? So let's start with a day you've got a mission. How does that work out for you?
Mission days normally will start with an early morning 6 o'clock briefing. So we'll sit with command and we'll We'll have a discussion. We'll look at. I cannot tell you exactly what we look at, but we in detail then plan the mission, step by step, in full detail. And after that, if we get the go ahead, I will then come back, brief my guys, get my teams ready, set up their mission planning and what they need to do and how they need to do it. We will then typically go through all our weapon systems. One by one, and make sure that all of them are clean, all of them are functioning. We will make sure that our bullet counts are correct. We go in quite detail into how we do it. And then after that is done, I normally get called in to sign stuff or do stuff, but they know I hate it very much. I would put my earphones on and I would start listening to very relaxing music. And then start getting my head ready for what needs to happen. I'm normally a very calm person, so for me it's will be probably Miles Davis, music like that. It relaxes me, it makes me calm. And then we will then jump in our vehicles and then deploy the guys on a rotation. So never all together, it will always be on a rotation basis, and then start moving the chess pieces depending on the mission. Our missions, it's always difficult to say. It all depends on a lot of variables, which we obviously we look at it and we plan for it. So if this happens, this is what we need to do. If this happens, we need to do this. I mean, we pretty much do 15, 20 different scenarios. And the guys are briefed in that way, so that when we know that we will also, prior to mission, obviously go through a lot of drone footage. I mean, we will literally study a lot. It's more study than than something else. So we would look at patterns, we will look at rotation times, there's things like that that we look at. So, and a lot of other things that's very important to us. And then based on that, we will take certain weapon systems, leave certain weapon systems, all depending on the job at hand. So that's typically on the deployment. That's the one part of deployment that we can have. The other deployment that we have is when there's been an attack on one of our positions. We get a call, we got 5 minutes, and we roll out. So you literally just prepare all your equipment, make sure all of it is always ready, always, 24 hours, 7 days a week. And then what will happen is we will roll out and we'll do either a counterattack if they were successful, or we would actually then go into our position together with our Ukrainian brothers and then defend it. Normally with the drones, the reason why we need them is it will help us a hell of a lot. We get real-time information, so which means that our command feeds us with movement. Although they will never be over us or close to us, we will always know what in advance what is in front of us or what is happening. And we plan it then according to that. And a mission depend on the mission. It can be anything from the longest mission we've recently busy with is a 15-day rotation, where you're literally on for 15 days. That's been the longest. The shortest that we've been is a 2-hour mission. We go in, we do what we need to do, and we come out. So it all depends on what we do.
Let me ask you a personal question, Viper, and then we'll go back, talk a little bit more about these eyes in the sky, these drones that gave me another idea. You guys hang around. We're going to help Viper at the end of this stream as well. I got some ideas rolling in this noggin of mine. So let's go back to we'll talk about when you're on in just a moment, because we're going to go a little more detail into that. But help people understand what life is like for a frontline soldier on your day off, or if you get a 24-hour or a 48-hour rest period. What are you doing then?
So what normally will happen is, depending if it was a night operation, the previous night, all the guys will sleep in. Probably only wake up at like about 10. I've got dual functionality because I'm also help the guys with recruiting. I need to all the new guys that comes in from different units or want to join our unit. I need to go through, check their military background, check the type of personality they've got and things like that, because we are very stringent on who we allow into our battalion, especially our company. But a normal day for me would be waking up normally at about 5:30, 6 in the morning, irrespective of what time. I can't sleep late. I'm not a late sleeping person. So then I would either go for a walk, but normally we've got our own gym here. I would run into the gym, start a gym session, put some music in my ears. Then after gym, I will go for a shower. We're fortunate enough, we've got our own cook. He will prepare some breakfast for us. We'll have our breakfast. After that, I will start then to look at my other side of of my work. So documentation, stuff like that we need to sort out. If there's any issues with equipment that we need to address. Sometimes missions require us to shuffle equipment, and there's a stringence of documents that we need to fill in and sign. There's a lot of documents. So the guys normally will come from our armory and we'll do reissuing. After that is done, it will probably be around about lunchtime. We're fortunate enough, we've got a hot shower, so I'll go for a nice hot shower. And then after we've showered, I will then start looking at my equipment. So then normally I go through all my equipment, and I've got quite a bit of equipment. So I will have a look at C4 fuses. I'll have a look at my 40 mic, clean it, oil it, make sure it's 100% functional. Look at the ammunition, make sure that the ammunition, there's no defects on it. I will then look at my M16. I will look at my AK. And go through all my weapon systems. So that's on a daily basis. Re-oil them, make sure that everything is 100% correct. All my rounds are loaded correctly. There's no jams. There's no dirt on any of my rounds. So normally it's a problem when we go out. You get a lot of dirt in your magazines. So we will throw out all our bullets, literally clean all the magazines, and then clean them and put the bullets back into our weapons. And then, I'm also
the bottom line is, and this is what I figured you would say, is you do try to rest as you can, but the reality is you're nonstop working. That's war.
Yeah, you must. Problem is we're also within artillery and FPV range. So when there's a super drone above us, then the guys cannot move at all. I mean, then you're stuck in a house. We get very, very, very accurate information on what's going on. Sometimes there will be 3 or 4 rounds coming in from artillery, and we need to run to the basement. You literally grab your bag with your passport, your documentation, and your gun, and your vest, and your helmet, and the equipment that you need to have with you in the case of an attack or that they push. And then you sit in a basement, and until we can hear, the guys are happy, they're not throwing shells anymore, and then life continues.
Well, I hope that helps everyone understand. Let me hop over here right now. A lot going on. I see Neil's item, and I just saw the chat. I've got like 4 monitors here. I'm trying to watch all the chats because I want to just share the love and say thank you to everybody that is donating today. A special stream where we're helping and standing with Viper. I'm up to 3 gifts I'm going to give him now. I will announce them at the end of the stream. And then everything you guys are donating through Ko-Fi, through Super Chats, all of that. It's going to be a good blessing day for Viper and their work there. Thank you. Let's see. I want to get this. Mark Bisque. BLUESKY, Canadian 69.99. The message is from Mark and Elena. I've not met them personally, but I know them. I know Elena's parents. These guys support Johnny Pierce of ATP Geopolitics in a huge way. I've also had dinner with their family there in southern Ukraine. Won't call the town now. From Mark and Elena, with our deepest thanks, love, and respect for Viper. And in parentheses, and you too, Greg, and maybe Nick. Ida, Norwegian Crone 25. Hi, Greg. Have you got the hoodies sorted out? So thank you for that question, Ida. The hoodies I will sort out when I'm physically in Ukraine. I have 2 hoodies I wear quite often on my streams that are custom made in Ukraine, and everybody wants one, and they're loving them. So I'm going to do that there with the company, the seamstress that made them, and we'll see what we can come up with, but I will be working on that. Richard E., welcome to new crew member. Thank you for joining. FM, $20 super chat. Razum do Peramogul. Yes, absolutely, Saglasin. And thank you. I absolutely agree. So, of course, us 3 understood that. So, anyway, but we'll translate it. What I just want people to understand, and Viper described it, it's nonstop. And there's 2 points that I think were valid in that. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the eyes in the sky. And that is this. Number 1, if you're in battle or in a difficult situation, it's too late then to clean your gun. It's too late. So that preparation is nonstop, and it must be. And I can tell you, everywhere I go and visit the soldiers, this is what they do. They are skilled. They know that their equipment is life-saving. And then secondly, I wanted you guys to hear from Viper that when there are critical threats, they do what people do in Kyiv, run to the bunker and work to save their lives. No different on the front lines. I was there up below, right next to the Kursk line, and I was chatting with some snipers there. We were doing this video and interview, and we had 2 glide bombs land 1 street over from us, and there was no warning, and 0, of course. There's no air alarms, and the soldiers looked at me, and Jania says, we've got to get in the hole right now, because there's no warning, and we didn't get an alert on this because it was the glide bomb. And it's the same thing. You get in the hole. So the same thing. I do have one personal question. Then Nick, will go back to you talking about the eyes in the sky. What's your favorite food, your meal? If you get one, what's your favorite?
African steak. I love a good sirloin, rump steak, fillet steak. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
But it needs to be prepared correctly.
What's your favorite Ukrainian dish?
Not borscht. Please, not borscht. We had a lot. If you know how much borscht I've ate in my life. Borscht. It's a nice Ukrainian dish. I actually, something that I do get here is kinkali, which is a Georgian dish, but it is amazing to eat. It's got all the, it's got your carbohydrates. It's got meat inside with a bit of coriander, and you can throw it in a hot pot quickly, and it takes 5 minutes to prepare. So I love eating kinkali. It's one of my favorite things to do. And what's nice is you do get it in Ukraine. Very
so
good.
So I guess when he's moonlighting, the way he's discussing ingredients there, he's also a Iron Chef. I don't know. He's talking about ingredients like my grandma. So, all right, Nick, back to you, my friend.
All right. Well, we got another super chat, Dunk on you. Forgot to leave a like, so this is my self-imposed penalty. Keep on doing the good, sir. That's Dunk on you, $20. Thank you so much for that. And meanwhile, I've in all my years of streaming, which I can now say is starting to get significant, I've never had this. The real Vladimir Putin is in each stream arguing over which one is the real Vladimir Putin. I'm not sure exactly what to do with this. This is an Inception level event, but thank you all for your support, and thanks on both sides, on both streams, for everything that's coming in. I think that's really ideal for Viper. So I think so. We were going to talk about what exactly do these drones do? What do the so you're looking at a Mavic 2. Now we've all heard about the drones that drop bombs on people. Is this one of those drones? What does this do?
Okay, so it's a Mavic 3
Oh,
Pro,
Mavic.
and it's a 3T. Okay, so there's a couple of things that we use this for. Predominantly, it will be reconnaissance. And when I say reconnaissance, it's the old way of doing reconnaissance is you send out a sniper and you send out his spotter, and they have to go to hopefully an elevated position where the enemy cannot see them. They need to lie there for a day or two, and they need to literally, without movement, lying dead still for 2 days, slowly and surely move back and report on what they've seen. That is how we used to do reconnaissance. Nowadays, we've got this amazing thing called a drone, and we all hate them, but we all love them as well. So what now will happen is we will have a continuous stream of information coming in. We'll have reconnaissance officers actually sitting with the drone team, sending them to specific positions, specific areas of concern, and they will literally be up in the air 24 hours, 7 days a week, depending on the weather. Weather plays a very, very big role on when it comes to drones. Obviously, if it's a hard raining or hard snowing day, you go blind, and I can promise you, as a soldier, if you're in the front line and you go blind, it's not a nice feeling. Then your ears start splitting a little bit more because you need to focus on what you're doing, and you're very nervous. So from a reconnaissance point of view, that's pretty much why we use the drones. So reconnaissance, what do we mean in reconnaissance? Reconnaissance, we mean that we'll send a drone out, probably 400, 500, 600. Sometimes we can send them out a couple of kilometers to go and recon an area, to have a look at where the enemy is. Do they always see the enemy? 99% of the time. 1% will normally be if they're in a very deep bunker or bondage. Obviously, the thermal will not pick it up because at the top of the bondage, there will be wood and then sand, plastic, and then sand again. So you literally cannot penetrate through that. You're going to see the top cold part of the... If they are using trench candles, you will see a very slight white line making a triangle. Now, a square. And if you see that square, you know it's a bondage, because at the end of the day, nothing in nature is square. There is just not something like that. So we do see them, but obviously, you know, then it's a bondage area. During daytime, they've got a very, very, very good camera. They can literally zoom in. I've seen footage where they zoomed in up to about 2 kilometers, and the picture is crystal clear. That's why they're so expensive. But they've got the thermal capability, and the thermal capability is what we're looking at for reconnaissance. Then what they also can do is, obviously, when we do a maneuver or we need to go beyond the zero, which happens from time to time, they will help us to either avoid contact if it's a silent mission, or they will help us to manage contact, to be able to surprise pretty much the enemy, or be able to silently operate. A lot of times there's a big concentration of enemy soldiers in specific areas, but they're bundled and sprinkled all over an area. So what's about the drone? It helps us to plan either within a rotation cycle or things like that. We can use that drone to, first of all, understand what is the rotational cycle of the area, and then also to understand what movement there is. If we can know that, we can literally go within intervals of their movement to an area without them knowing we were there and come back. Because everybody thinks you always want contact. You want contact? I can tell you now, as a human being, I don't like being in contact, but if it needs be, it needs be. It's always dangerous. It's always unpredictable. Yes, you are well trained. Yes. But at the end of the day, we avoid contact at all costs. It's not something we like to do.
Viper, what about
The other
artillery correction?
That's the way I'm coming now.
Beautiful.
The artillery correction. So what we used to do with, like, for instance, an 82 mortar, we used to have 4 people sitting at that mortar, which means you're putting 4 people's lives at risk. One would actually be the guy throwing literally the mortar down the tube, which is the firing officer. Then you'll have a corrections officer. Okay, he will sit with a chart, working out wind directions, working out wind strength, humidity, and corrections. Okay, you will also have a spotter, which normally looks more front and would radio back to them. Listen, oh, you 19 meters to the left. You need to do a correction of X. And then you have an officer that shouts at everybody. So that is how it used to work. Nowadays, they literally dial in on an iPad with the reconnaissance, and the reconnaissance will tell them, you are 2 meters to the left. Please do the correction. The reconnaissance of the drone operators will actually tell them what the correction is. And I mean, a drone shows you the wind speed. It shows you the exact coordinates. So it's an exact science. It's not in older years, if you had a guy that was very good with calculations, he was very accurate within 50 meters. Nowadays, with drones, I can tell you now, we normally by the second shot, you spot on.
Wow.
So obviously, for this, the drones are used for this as well. So artillery correction. And then the other thing that they also assist us with, these drones help us because we've got a live feed running 24 hours, 7 days a week in our facility, where we continuously look what's happening in the front line. So it preempts us for a future attack that might occur in the next 10 to 15 to 20 to 30 minutes, which means I can call my guys and say, okay, guys, code red now, we're rolling out. You've got 5 minutes, then we move. And I mean, we literally on the front line before the enemy does the attack, which means that we can help the Ukrainian units. And I'm being honest with you, obviously the Ukrainian units, we are a Ukrainian company, but the Ukrainian units is not Western tactical trained like us. Yes, there's they're the bravest people, for sure. But there is just not enough. People always say to me, oh yeah, but you're just sending midwives to the front. No. Ukraine doesn't train the people. Sorry for the words, but that's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
They give them as possible in the shortest amount of time for a reason. We are in the war. We're not practicing to go to war. We are in the war. So people need to understand that. There is no time of 6 months basic training because we don't have a force that's already fighting, and we've got a million other people just hanging around that we can train for 6 to 8 months. We are in the war already. So it makes a difference. People need to realize that. People need to respect that. So that will help us, coming back to the drones, that will help us to preempt and actually go in with, and you form a very, very, very strong bond with some of the guys. And yes, I mean, in a perfect world, nobody will get hurt and nobody would die. But they're always happy to see us. I mean, I can tell you now. They, in the beginning, they don't like you that much. But it's like Georgia also. People didn't like me in Georgia until I really start to know them. And if they invite you into their house, I promise you, it's the most genuine people you ever meet in your life. They would put a spread out for you like second to none. And the same with the Ukrainians. I mean, there's some of those guys, they don't speak English. My Ukrainian is really not good. I can basically help myself and swear. That's pretty much what I can do. But at the end of the day, the guys, you start building relationships with the guys. And I can tell you now, they're always happy to see you because they know that tactically you are very sound. but you need to earn that respect. You just not just get it. They need to see that you are there for them.
Viper,
So yeah, that helps.
so true. One of the other things that we talked about in our pre-call that I think is important. So we've talked about, of course, the drones, the thermal, the eyes in the skies. It can save lives. It can artillery correction. It can find holes in the enemy lines, et cetera, et cetera. But we were talking also about how important it is for saving lives and being that almost like a shield of protection to see what you can't see. And additionally, also, one of the things that's so important, whether it's done through drones, identifying battles and results, but also allowing you guys, for example, to bring a wounded guy off the battlefield, or if we lost a brother or sister in arms, to bring them off the battlefield, to bring closure to families. And before you talk about that, in the chat right now, we've got Galina there. Let me send this. Galina, Project Konstantin. Hello, dear community. Just want to say thank you for your service. And Galina's, she's in the middle of it with loss and the reality of war. And we give love to Galina. A couple of comments here, and then we'll talk about that saving lives and closure. Brilliant that you are doing what you do, Viper. Ukraine, as you know, it is so well worth it. Richard Bjorkland. It's so good to sit and look at a chat and see so much good people sharing so much love. Richard, 100%. Barrett Rupp in the chat. Night and day difference of collecting information. That's back to speaking about the ability and the work of drones. This is nice. It's maybe my first chat from Scotland. Hi from Scotland. Really appreciate all of the great info on Ukraine. You're welcome. Richard E. Looks like Viper. I'm a combat medic in the U.S. Will be coming your way in January. Greg, I'm hoping I can talk to you one-to-one about a couple things on that at your convenience. My prayers to you, my brother. Thank you, Richard. And let me know when you're in Ukraine, man. I see a cup of coffee in our future. So get to Ukraine. And thank you. This is the care of people. So Viper, talk about closure and being able to bring the wounded off, or unfortunately, to recover our fallen brothers and sisters.
So first of all, I want to say to Galena, I know she lost somebody in her family recently. So I just want to say, sis, the one thing that I've learned about Ukrainian women, they steal. They're solid as steel. And I know it hurts and it's difficult times. But Galena, like I told you, time heals all wounds and we honor them through what we do. Then talking about closure. Closure is if somebody haven't experienced loss without closure, they would probably not understand what I'm talking about, because most people that you lose, you see there's a body and you know that it's final. The finality sets into your psychology, in your mind. So for us, it's extremely important to bring a fallen brother off the field so that his family can see him. And a lot of people goes missing in action, a lot. I've got one of my brothers that's been missing in action in 14 days. He hasn't checked in yet. So that you keep on wondering, is he a POW? Is he lying somewhere still alive? Is he all right? Is he in pain? There goes a lot of stuff runs through your mind. But the finality of somebody seeing their loved one dead, done, will bring finally that closure that there's no more hope. The hope is finished. Now we need to deal with the emotions. We need to deal with the loss. And the drones help us a lot with that, because at the end of the day, we do know where that fallen brother is exactly, and we can in detail plan to recovery. Is it always possible? No, it's not, being honest with you. but to the best of our ability, we try. We're not the Peter Russ that leaves our people on the field. In the last 3 months, I can guarantee you, we've never left a brother behind. Never. We always
And
go and fetch them.
you crossed the zero line. You've gone behind enemy lines, hopefully, usually
The
with
only,
drone help to go collect a body and bring them back.
the only time that you will cross the zero is either to attack them for position, or it will be to recover. I mean, it's not a place where you want to be. Extremely difficult situations. And the problem is, when crossing, there's a vast amount of knowledge that you need to take with you. You can't just cross riflemen. You need to bring a sapper. There is some other people you need with you. So it's if you lose a group beyond the zero, it's extremely amount of very much time that was put into people that you would lose, and it's not so easy to replace.
It's challenging. I got a call last night. One of the guys that we work with down south, when you're talking about recovery and the wounded, and I see a lot of people in the chat right now talking about just how honorable the Ukrainians are and the foreign fighters that are there fighting for Ukraine, like yourself, Viper, in taking care of the wounded, recovering the lost, doing their very, very best. And yes, there are, guys, so many more missing than publicly known, to be quite honest. It's a lot. And we wait to hear from them. We don't know the stories. We don't know, like Viper was saying, concur with that 100%, and listen to him. He's confirming what all my other buddies along the front tell us. But yesterday, unfortunately, one of the guys that we help was wounded. He was coming off the zero, and their vehicle was hit with a ground, basically an anti-tank missile. And typically he's the driver, but in this particular case, they were getting out quickly. He jumped into the back seat, and one of his partners was driving, and the missile hit directly, killing him. And my buddy lost his hands yesterday. And, of course, they had to get there, get him out, recovering even under fire. And the drones were helping. And of course, all the teams. It's just, no matter what the situation is, I hope this helps shine light on the character of those heroes fighting there on the front line. So I'm thinking about my buddy today. His name is his call sign Olis. And I'll be there to see him in a couple of weeks. But this is just the reality of this hellish war. Nick, back to you. I think we've covered all of the drone information. We were going to talk about just general, I think, frontline thoughts, or if there's something I missed, you have.
No, I've covered everything. If you you can ask that question, or I can.
No, just in general. Okay, so Viper, you're the guest, and we're here to honor you and thank you and help you today. So, two-part question. Soldiers on the front lines, and we'll not give positions away, but let's just throw something hypothetically out there. Guys up fighting near Sumy and Kursk. They have buddies that are fighting downs towards Pokrovsk. These guys are communicating back and forth nonstop. Text messages are calling and chatting and all of this. This happens between soldiers. So I know all you guys are chatting about the front lines everywhere, and we're not going to look at the front now and go in a city-by-city map. I may do that in a couple of days in a deep dive, looking at the front, because they're changing very quickly. But just in general, when you guys are communicating, how are you feeling the morale along the entire front lines? Maybe you can just kind of speak for Ukraine in general right now.
Yeah, I can tell you that the East is extremely difficult. It's hell. There's no two ways about it. The lines are not holding, and what people don't realize is as soon as the line shifts, it means people were killed for that position. It doesn't shift without people lost. Hopefully they got a team that's strong enough that can pull them back and hold the line until they pull back. And yes, that also sometimes helps, but it's always difficult, because as soon as you start movement is very difficult in the front line. So The East, I can tell you, Chelsea VR, I've got buddies there. They're tired. They're very tired. I mean, you literally crawl through hole to hole to hole to get to a position. It's people don't understand that you literally go through whatever hole there is. While FPVs are hunting you, while there's artillery been thrown left, right, and center, and they throw artillery. They're not scared of throwing artillery. So you hopefully one of the drones don't see you. I mean, we've got equipment, but then again, if you start crawling through things, it's very difficult to have a drone jammer. Where we operate, we're more in a wooded area. It's easier. I mean, we can move. We just don't stand still. As long as you don't stand still in a wooded area. If you stand still, you die. The artillery normally first be close, but the second one will hit. That they say that the Russians are inaccurate. That's nonsense. I can tell you now, it's not. They will hit the second time. So if we get something close, I can tell you now, we start moving fast. We're fortunate enough. We've got a brilliant commander. So we up to date with the latest technologies in drone jamming. So we pretty much have a 50 meter radius cushion. Let's put it that way. Chelsea VR, it's difficult. It's urban fighting. Although there's nothing left, it's ruin fighting. It's still from a CQB point of view, very, very dangerous and very, very difficult. I've lost 9 brothers in the last 2 months there, so it's a very difficult time there. If we start talking about Garson area, Robotny area,
Kherson.
a bit more. I would say a bit more stable. Not stable, but I mean it's the whole front line is always dynamic. It's never static. Never.
Interesting. You say Robotny, just in case people don't know, it's just south of Orikhiv, coming out of Zaporizhia down through Komyshavata. Yeah, down to Orikhiv. We are hearing Russians piling more in there, but listen, right now it's not as stable as it was, but it's not like the East.
They're throwing the kitchen sink, everything at Kursk. I've got brothers that's fighting there. They're holding.
They are holding.
Difficult.
All right, personal question for you. How do you feel going into 2025? Just, this is Viper's opinion. How do you feel going into 2025?
Hell yeah, brother. Bring it on. I mean, I'm always being positive.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about right there. Nick, get ready for your next question. And Prepper Nation H, what a nice comment here. Dunk, thanks for throwing it to me. I am filled with such gratitude being here in the live chat with you all. It seems to be the rare occasion when I can catch the stream in real time. It's good for my soul. Blessings to all. And GV Garrard giving a nice comment there. This brings a lot of memories. Never leave your brother behind. Keep going on. So just Prepper Nation telling you great attitude, Viper. And it is. Thank you. A couple of super chats here, and then Nick, I'm gonna throw it to you. Camila Matson, Swedish Crones 27. I wish I could help more. Camila, thank you. Every penny helps, to be quite honest. Niels Item gifting 10 memberships. Thank you for that, Niels, and your continual support of the work. Pete Watson, Australian 20. To my brothers and sisters of UDF and police, those whom serving and those who are in God's grace, warm embrace. Slava Ukraini. Yes, I've served in the Defense Forces for 10 years. Thank you, Pete, there for your service in your homeland of Australia. Petra Olsen with another super chat, or Swedish Crones 129. Thank you, Viper, for what you do, and we'll get that to you, Viper. Prepper Nation H, Prepper Nation H 777. That's good there. Super chat with a question. Would there be any value using swarms of those small drones, such as like an aerial display for psychological warfare or distraction? Viper, that's a question for you.
Now area where I really can't start talking to you. Um, all I can say is the technology is further than you think. That's all I
Yes.
can say.
Yes. And to be quite honest, even Prepper, just from dealing with my guys there, small drones, it's not much psychological warfare in that, to be quite honest, because here comes the big stuff right behind it. And the big stuff is the psychological problem.
If you ever heard a vampire drone coming towards you, I can promise you, it sounds like a helicopter, but you know it's not a helicopter because the blades are not hitting in the wind. But I can promise you, you sure gonna dig in, because it's got a payload of 50 kilos and it throws 2 anti-tank mines. I promise you, an anti-tank mine dumped on you, close to you, even, 20 meters. It's enough to let your ears ring for quite a while.
Just in my last run there, it was with Zhenya and actually Andrew Mercado and Rick. We were coming out of Konstantinivka, wrapping around to Pokrovsk, and we were just there. We were in one of the closest areas where they were close to the road. And, you know, the roads are in bad conditions. It's terrible. It's loud. We've got our battle bus, as Johnny Pierce would call it. We've got our drone detector, all of our jazz running. It's noisy. And honest to God, Viper, we're just going along the road and we're just cooking. And you know, like you said, you don't stand still. We're moving. And all of a sudden, this is what we heard. And it was the sound of, we actually had a Shaheed coming right along the road, right above us. And brother, I'm going to tell you, we all had wet spots in our seats. And we were talking and we heard the Shaheed, and I rolled down the window and I was trying to find it above us. It's pitch black and dark. And, you know, at that point, there's nothing you can do. We just kept rolling, and it peeled off to the right and went over a few kilometers, and there was an explosion. So most likely it dropped on something or fell out of the sky. But regardless, it's just, as you were talking about the vampire, any drone, to be honest with you, I can remember even Peter telling me stories so much. He's in different places. He was battling. I mean, even back in the days of Bakhmut and then into Chasiv Yar and others, you just lift your forehead out of the hole and it's a swarm of wasps. Yeah.
Shaheed, I'm happy because I know I'm not that a high value target.
That's right. That's what we said. We said, okay, if the Shaheed hits us, then we actually felt okay because, of course, it's already on target somewhere else.
Please. They probably looked at the footage. They saw Greg's face and like, no, they got enough problems on that bus anyway. We'll go somewhere else.
Oh, man, we've got all kind of footage. Guys, if y'all want something funny, look back in my history. Oh, I need to pull the video. We're down there on the front on the Zaporizhia road going to drop some aid. And we were running with 21 vehicle convoy and a horrible stretch of road. Ice just started flying out of nowhere in the middle of the winter, and 21 vehicles went off the road, flipping and turning over in the fields. And our vehicle flipped. Gene and I were in it and flipped. And we landed up next to a convenience store, and military all helping flip all the vehicles over, and guys coming out of the fields all bloody. And it was scary. We lost all of our medical supplies, strode all over the road and the convenience store area there. And this convenience store owner runs up and he's helping. Military big truck comes and flips our Navara back over. And this is what the owner says: I've actually got your flip on my security camera footage. You want to see it? And send us. So we watched ourselves flip. So it was, hey, now it's okay. Now it's okay. But then it wasn't okay.
I must just this with you. I wish I had a camera. I've got the mental picture, but unfortunately we do not carry any cameras or any. We try and stay away from it completely. But I've got this image in my head. One of our guys on a quad bike, and literally 20 meters behind him, you can see the FPV, but the FPV can't get close enough because of the drone jammer. So you see this guy going at 60 kilometers an hour. And you see the FPV behind him. And I must say, it's something that will forever be imprinted in my head.
Yeah. we try to keep the camera running as much as possible because a lot of things that happen, you just never believe it. Nick, you got another question, and we'll start winding it down. I've got a couple more super chats here to say thank you, and then I got the three things I want to let Viper know we'll get him.
My last question is, obviously you must have had some expectations. You had training, and you kind of knew the area. You showed up, and you're put into this war. What most surprises you about what you're seeing now in this war? What is the thing that you would have least believed if you were talking to your past self and something, hey, this is what it's going to be like? What surprised you the most about the war in Ukraine?
The whole war. There's nothing specific. I mean, it's such a tempo of development and such a. It's extremely difficult to explain to people, which is not. I wish sometimes I can record 24 hours on the front for you to experience, to hear what we hear. I actually thought, oh, my eyes are going to be definitely my best asset. And then I realized that I could have actually be blind and still be a way better asset just by listening. So that's something that I must say, coming back to South Africa and hunting and things like that, you do intend to listen more than you see. So it helps a lot. So that's something I didn't expect. You always think, oh, yeah, you're going to have night vision. Oh, yeah, no, all's good. You know, I've got a rifle scope on. I'll be fine. And then at the end of the day, you realize that you can't stick your head out of the trenches. Otherwise, it gets blown off or FPV'd. So you start to listen, and I mean, we do listen a lot. I mean, quiet times, then you'll start figuring out that, oh, okay, that's I must tell you the story. It's actually, I'm not going to call the guys' names, but I had two civilians. One is from Denmark, the other one from America, and they went through the training programs that there is. In Ukraine, and well trained, very well, but obviously nobody can teach you by shooting artillery at you. So it's always an experience. So I had a lot. First time they're out with me, I normally, when the guys go out the first time, they're always with me. So I said to them, okay, guys, listen, yeah, here's a tank shooting at us. And they all could hear the whistle, and then simultaneously both of them like, oh, I said, no, cover, and I go down. So for a moment, it was like a oh moment, and then all of a sudden they realized, okay, that round is now on us. So we need to take cover. So yeah, things like that. I mean, yeah, the fact that I thought you're going to use your eyes a lot. Tactical, we use tactics. We use a lot of tactics, but at the end of the day, common sense, very important. Another thing that's very important is for one moment you cannot let your guard down. If you let your guard down, it's you're not going to walk out. And then again, just listening. Everybody's always, oh, it's so frightening. This is so frightening. I mean, artillery, a mortar shell, a 60 mil AGL, you can hear it come in. You know it's a 60 mil. You know when it's accurate or when it's not accurate. 82 mortar, a fab, whatever. You can hear the aviation come in, and you know, oh, sorry for the word, crap. I hope it's not a 3-ton one. I hope they keep the bid on it and it's 500. Because otherwise, I mean, we've had a 1.5-ton one through not far from us. It took 12 seconds for the dust to settle. Literally 12 seconds. I mean, it's a very powerful bomb. But at the end of the day, yeah, I've got a different philosophy because I'm a Christian and I'm a very solid Christian. And so for me, it's always, Blonde Bombsheller will tell you, I always say this, it's in God's hands.
In God's hands.
I mean,
exactly.
It's in God's hands. So, you know, if it's my time, it's my time. I don't have a problem with that. I know where I'm going to wake up. And it's in his hands. And every morning wherever I am, in a trench, wherever, cold, winter, doesn't matter. I just say, thank you, God, another day that I can make a difference. And thank you for your grace. That's it. and that's how I live day by day.
Thank
We
you.
had a chat with one of the
No,
that's
go ahead.
from the West, and obviously I'm from South Africa. We're not the richest country, and obviously don't have the best. But you know, the one thing that I said to him, the one thing that amazes me a lot and surprised me is the fact that you start to appreciate the small things in life again. You're so busy in your all day life that you know, you take something for granted, like a cat that flippin' eats one of the mouses that's always chowing your food in the trench. I mean, and you're like, yeah, awesome cat, really awesome, but thanks. I mean, something stupid like that. Or the fact that an awesome sleeping bag keeps you warm at winter. It's such a stupid thing, but you start learning to appreciate the small things again.
Amen.
Viper,
Viper,
thank you.
thank you. I need to Tatiana donating 50 Swiss francs for Viper. We'll get that to you, my dear friend. Appa Talks gifting a membership. And I just want to thank everybody here. They're talking in the chat. And Greg, we're going to give a flag away today. No, not today. Everything today is about just focusing on Viper. Let him tell his story. Let us introduce you to him. And the link is in the description there on the Ko-Fi today. Thank you, guys. And I know support has already come in. And we say thank you. I was looking, if you want a good smile, and Nick, whatever your final comments or question you have there, let me do this, because some people think I'm crazy sometimes or pull their chain. I'm not pulling your chain, guys. Let's do this right here. And you won't hear it, but this is in Ukraine. There, this is our truck after it flipped. You can see our load strode everywhere. This is after we were turned back over. You can see the weather. It was like, that's where I was sitting. Everything blown out. That's our battle bus there. But this is where the footage comes in. And sometimes people just don't understand the reality of it. Soldiers climbing around everywhere helping us. All of our medical stuff strode all over the ground. It was just an instant. I don't care if you see my license plate. It's not real anyway. There. Heroes coming in. I'm talking to them. Thank you. He says, no problem, my friend. Here's the footage off the security cam. Oh, the Viper, he's enjoying this. It's like a movie. Here we come. And wah, here it goes.
Oh,
welcome to the war. So that's the real stuff.
Were you driving?
I was in the passenger seat. My partner was driving.
Yeah, sure.
No, I wasn't driving.
Yeah, that's what. Tell the cops he was driving. Yeah. Okay.
We coming out tonight. We had exactly the same thing. So we flipped. We've got an old Nissan, and we flipped it also on the side. And it's, guys, you do not understand the weather here. So we've had snow, rain, mud, snow, rain, snow.
Yes.
Now, if you don't understand what that brings, you call it permafrost. So all that mud is solid, solid, solid. And then you've got a fresh, compacted layer of wet snow above it. Now, South Africa, we don't have that. But I can tell you in Ukraine, I learned that cars go a bit haywire. And the same thing, we went to the spot that we've been driven through 7 million times. And tonight it was just, yeah, it was just that. And we flipped it to the side. I mean, luckily, one guy just got a bit injured on his shoulder, tore a little bit of ligaments, but nobody was injured. So, yeah, gracefully all walked out of it. So.
It's just crazy dangerous. People were asking, I guess I shouldn't have shown that and said, no, we were not injured. Thank God. I'll go back. It's exactly, the weather's indescribable. So climbing out of the truck here, ice went out through the window and I'm leaning up against the building and look, here comes the soldiers already. Instant. they're rolling to us because everybody had flipped. So no, but thank you for asking. No injuries, and we're all good. Nick,
I have a copy of that footage.
no, you may
no
not.
reason.
It's on YouTube. But if you use the hey, this has been awesome, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to give the last comment to Viper to say thank you. But first from me, Viper, thank you. Thank you for caring for Ukraine. It's been my second home for 26, now 25. It'll be 27 years. I'll be back in just a couple of weeks, and I will find you, and we will have a cup of coffee. We'll put a video out together from there and greet everybody again. But I just want to say thank you for caring for Ukraine. Thank you for fighting for Ukraine, and not only for Ukraine, but you know it. You're actually fighting for the world and for freedom. This is a very evil dictatorish regime that is trying to not only wipe Ukraine off the planet, but disrupt the entire world. And thank you for doing that. There is a late super chat coming in, a couple of them. PieV, €10. Finland, been through it. Country full of men, women, children, been destroyed by Russians, kind of, has been whole Baltics. The weather at the moment's horrible. My prayers and wool socks for the soldiers. And there's some wool socks enough in Ukraine. Yes, in fact, we will be delivering a lot of socks here soon. Haji, I nominate Viper for Patch of the Day. Slava Ukraini, return all of the defenders, return all the children. Thank you, Haji, for that. And yes, Viper is our Patch of the Day, our friend, not only of the day, but forever. And we thank you for your service, dear sir. Now, I will tell you this, and then I'll throw it to Nick, and then we'll throw it to Viper. So when I get there, Viper, before, guys, we went live on the stream, Viper was showing us stuff he can't show on the live stream, where he's staying, some different things. And I saw his radio, and it's the exact radio that our team in Khmelnytsky modifies. It increases its power, strength, range, susceptibility to outside signals going on. In addition to that, not only with the changing of the antenna systems, we also changed the battery systems, which will now turn your radio, Viper, not only extend the life of it like 6 times, but at the same time, it will allow it to be a power bank that you can use if you need to charge something else up on the front. And if you're on the front and you're stuck there for days and you need to recharge your battery on your radio, you can plug a standard power bank into it and recharge your battery on the fly with a fast charge. So we're going to be giving you an antenna to help save your life and save your brothers and sisters' lives. We're going to give you a new battery system, and we'll bring some more batteries for members of your unit. And thirdly, I have a question for you. Do you have a personal sugar cube? Do you know what that is?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. I know.
So a sugar cube is a personal drone detector about the size of a pager, and it will identify for you personally drones that are above your head and give you a warning, give you some more eyes on your personal body so you don't have one. So our organization, we will be giving you new antenna system, new batteries, and I will personally bring you a sugar cube to help save your life. So thank you for your service, sir. Nick?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Greg for this simulcast on both of our channels. It has been a genuine delight, and I like it when we can have fun, we can make jokes, but unfortunately, the topic is extraordinarily serious. Our channel is an educational channel, and recently we've been educating a lot about war. And one of the reasons is because it is far too easy for leaders who don't have children who fight in wars, leaders who have horrific bone spurs and can't have fought in a war themselves, to send their own people to war. And it's too easy for countries like Russia to just send cannon fodder to invade another country. And the only thing that we can do is either fight ourselves, which Viper, thank God for people like him who are doing this, because Greg is right, it's not going to stop at Ukraine. So we can either fight or we can become educated and see what we can do to help. Everybody here on both of these channels has watched this show and super chatted and liked and subscribed, because they understand that this is something where we give what we can, and whether that's a voice and a channel, whether that's a super chat alike, whether that is support through financial, or just getting out and reaching out to your congressman and saying, hey, Ukraine needs this support. Ukraine needs this support, and I'm a single issue voter. Either you support Ukraine or you don't get my vote. And whatever ways it is, I really have seen amazing support on both channels here. I appreciate everyone who has sat through for this and taken this as seriously as we do. Again, all the kidding aside. And once again, thank you, Greg, for the opportunity to do this with you.
And thank you, Nick, for partnering together with In Time. I will tell you this, my buddy's in here, Sam Winters. He just said hello and everybody was greeting him back. It's people like this that you guys don't know. Like, they don't super chat. They don't, do stuff like that, but they're here. Like, Sam supports Ukraine through our organization. You'd never know it. These are the kind of people in our chats. These are the kind of people partnering together, and it takes everybody working together to make it happen. And Reb Tyree, I'll close with your comment. Greg, I was just going to ask about a sugar cube for Viper. You beat me to it. Oh yeah, we're taking care of Viper, I promise you. So I'm going to bring him a sugar cube and the other stuff I promised. When I get there, Zhenya and I will. And we'll see you guys again on the video there with Viper. So Viper, thank you. Give you the final words. And guys, links in the description on this video for the Ko-Fi. And thank you for helping Viper today. We appreciate it. Viper?
Pastor, thank you very much, Nick. It's always such an honor to speak to you guys and what you do for Ukraine. It's always so easy to say, Heroum Slava, which means glory to the heroes. But the heroes, I always say this, for one soldier in the front line, there's 9 support staff. And people don't always understand. And that support staff needs equipment. They need logistics. There's so much more than just the one guy that makes a difference in the front. So, first of all, I want to say thank you very much to the whole Ukrainian community. You guys are awesome. I always love to just drop by and say how amazing your people are, because I mean, without you, it's sometimes difficult. But at the end of the day, we committed, and people always say to me, "Oh yeah, glory to you, and thanks for your service." All I want to say, it's a privilege. It's a privilege for me to be able to make a difference. It's a privilege for me that God gave me the talent to be able to be here and to make a difference. And it's a privilege to serve the people of Ukraine. It's not a right. It's a privilege. And if people understand that, I always love to say that, because it's something that I feel a lot of foreign volunteers fighting for Ukraine comes for different reasons. But I can tell you now, it's always humbling when you see the difference that you make in people's lives. Thank you for your support. Again, Blonde Bombsheller, you're my left, my right, you're my legs, you're my everything, because without you, I mean, she literally leaves 7 days messages when I'm on mission, and when I can come back, I can catch up on everything that happened or that needs to happen. So thank you again, Blonde, for everything that you do for us, for our battalion personally, through media. Please say hi to the kids for me. Tell them I'm still strong, still going strong. And please tell Alex that I've changed weapon systems. We need to discuss the new one. So, and then to everybody, I mean, Petra Olsen, I don't want to start, Dunk, sir, I love you. I really, really love you, sir. Thank you for everything that you do for us. Everybody, I mean, if I have to thank everybody, I think we'll still sit here until 3 in the morning.
That's okay. We can say thank you to everybody. And I see in the chat, Mark Thompson just donated $50 through the Ko-Fi. Honestly, Viper, it becomes overwhelming to start thinking of people and thanking everyone. And you never want to miss anybody, it just, So to everybody, thank you. Because if it wasn't for you and the people, good people of the world, it would basically be Nick and Viper and myself staring at each other talking, but nobody helping and listening. So it's actually, you guys. Nick was saying what he does as far as news and sharing information and right now about the one focus on supporting Ukraine and other stories. You guys know what I do. We push the aid right there to the front, and I travel a lot. I do a lot of crazy stuff. Speaking different places around the world. It's just what I do. But you guys, Viper, you're fighting, man, right there in a hellish war. And then the wonderful people of the world, we all come together, and all together we make a powerful team. So thank you.
And then again, like I always say, do peremoi, which means for victory. And we'll fight until the end. That's it.
Amen. You guys have a great night. Thank you for being here on End Time Independent News. Thank you for being on my channel as well, Greg Terry Experience. Viper, thank you for taking time out of away from your rest. We thank you for everything you do. And you guys be blessed. Anything else, Nick or Viper? We good?
All good.
Slava Ukraina.
Героям слава.
До перемоги, братушка моя.
Слава Україні!
You guys just stay in the green room. And yes, I know you guys are hearing that, but I'm talking behind the video. Having some fun on this Sunday afternoon.